respect my name. That's right.
Exactly. Westbrook.
The shaming of my name, the shaming of my character, the shaming of who I am as a person, is, to me, is not warranted.
What the Los Angeles Lakers and Russell Westbrook have been going through this past year has, of course, been extremely unfortunate. I don't think any of us thought it would get to this point where apparently, at least according to Russell Westbrook's wife, there's death wishes towards the family. There's a lot to get to here because there's this report that the Lakers may part ways with Russell Westbrook. There's a report about Frank Vogel potentially trying to demote him to the bench. So before we get to the content, we're giving away $500 to one of my followers on Instagram. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. And now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. I gotta be honest, man, I am absolutely blown away with where technology is going because I was able to learn so much about myself and my body based off of a very simple test I took from a genetic analysis company called Self-Decode. You'll be able to uncover all of these different insights about your DNA. They do this by using AI and machine learning, and they'll provide personalized health recommendations based off of your genome. But it doesn't stop there because Self-Decode also provides lab analysis and recommendations. And it's super easy to start. They send you a simple lab testing kit where you need to collect your sample and send it back to them. And once you're done, you get this, and I'm gonna share you a decent amount about myself just to give you an idea of how sick this is. Something a little bit personal about my family is we are very subject to insomnia, and Self-Decode was able to pick that up in their wellness report. Now, their wellness report is very detailed. I want you to know, like, they give you a lot of information about yourself, and when you go into this, there's more stuff about yourself that you can uncover, but I'm comfortable sharing sleep with you guys. So you go into insomnia and they start to give you a little bit of a lowdown. I have a pretty decent risk of insomnia. As you scroll down, since I have a slightly increased risk of insomnia, they provide solutions for you to help yourself avoid insomnia. And this is just one very brief example. I really thought this was such a cool test to conduct for myself. I want to get my entire family to do it, and luckily for me, they gave me a 25% off code. When you use my promo code TheFlightMike on Self-Decode, you'll get 25% off of your purchase. It's important to note that Self-Decode doesn't replace a doctor. It doesn't treat or diagnose any conditions you have. Rather, it's more of a means of getting to know yourself a little better. And I gotta admit, man, it's kind of crazy how they were able to hit so many parts of my personality just based off of a sample I was able to provide them. So use promo code TheFlightMike at Self-Decode to get 25% off your purchase. And thank you, Self-Decode, for the sponsorship. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? If you guys remember, when I started to notice that the Los Angeles Lakers were starting to go through some difficulty, I felt like their best option at this point was to try to bring Russell Westbrook off the bench. Yes, he would easily be the most expensive individual to come off of the bench, but if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Russell Westbrook is great when it comes to creating for his teammates, especially if you happen to get him in a year where people are respecting his three-point jumper, which unfortunately this isn't one of those years.
Westbrook going about it. Crowd kind of telling him no, and he missed it.
And he wouldn't have to share the court with LeBron James, who's very ball dominant, and Anthony Davis when Anthony Davis is able to actually play. So as a result, there is this report from Adrian Wojnarowski that's titled that the Los Angeles Lakers head coach Frank Vogel is feeling the push to demote Russell Westbrook from the starting lineup. It starts by saying there has been an increasing push amongst many in the Los Angeles Lakers organization to demote 9-time All-Star Russell Westbrook from the starting lineup. But so far, Frank Vogel has resisted bringing him off of the bench. The coaching staff and Westbrook have differing visions on how best to utilize the former MVP, and that has partly accounted for some tense moments between Vogel and Westbrook in the past several days, including during a Friday film session. Now, ultimately, this has been a theme throughout the year. There's been times where Russell Westbrook was benched for the fourth quarter, and ultimately, you saw some very strange things coming out as a result of that from Russell Westbrook, where he stated at one point that he gets back pain from sitting on the bench for too long. A lot of weird stuff, man, but Frank Vogel staying fairly optimistic, saying that there is an opportunity for Westbrook to make a late season charge as he did a season ago with the Washington Wizards. And when he was asked about the possibility of Westbrook assuming a bench role, Vogel told reporters this past weekend that we have discussions just like the front office has thousands of trade discussions every deadline, and they don't discuss every one of those. Most of them don't come to fruition, and that's where we are at with Russ. Is there a path where that's the better option? We have talked about that. We've talked about everything we can do with our team, and we're not there, which is very unfortunate, man, because I think the Lakers are at a point where they need to try everything. Like, this is the last chance that you have with Russell Westbrook to make it work. You're the 9th seed and literally a few games from not even making it in the play-in. You've won 2 out of your last 10 games, and things are just getting worse and worse. When they faced off against the San Antonio Spurs, you had someone yell Westbrook at Russell Westbrook, which this has been a recurring theme. Fans of the Lakers and just fans in general have been trash talking the Lakers, and the Lakers have been firing back at them. Now things have gotten so bad to the point where Russell Westbrook said that he's afraid of his family attending Laker games, saying it affects them even going to games. Like, I don't even want to bring my kids to the game because I don't want to hear people calling their dad nicknames and other names for no reason because he's playing the game that he loves. And it's gotten so bad where my family doesn't even want to go to home games, to any game, and it's just super unfortunate, man, and it's super upsetting to me. I'm at a point where I'm going to continue to address it. It's just unfortunate.
It really kind of hit me the other day. Honestly, I was, me and my wife was at teacher parent conference for my son, and the teacher told me, she's like, Noah, he's so proud of his last name. He writes it everywhere. He writes it on everything. He tells everybody, he walks around and says, I'm Westbrook, that's his last name. And I kind of sat there in shock, and it hit me like, damn, I can no longer allow people, for example, Westbrook to me is now shaming, like it's shaming my name. It's my legacy for my kids. It's a name that means more, not just to me, but to my wife, to my mom, my dad, the ones that kind of paved the way for me. And that's just one example, man, that kind of hit myself and my wife in a place where it's not great, man. And I think a lot of times, I let it slide, but it's now time to put a stop to that and put it on notice. Like, there's a difference, and we need to make sure that it's understood. And every time I do hear it now, I will make sure that I address it and make sure that I nip that in the butt.
Now look, man, obviously NBA fans could get extremely passionate when it comes to their favorite teams, especially when you're a team that is supposed to be contending, especially when Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James make up almost 70% of your salary cap space. They're just not gelling together. It could be very tough considering how Russell Westbrook was very excited to join the Lakers, mainly because his family would finally get the opportunity to see him play in these games. Now, apparently, Russell Westbrook's wife, Nina Westbrook, launched a series of tweets claiming the Westbrook family has received death wishes from critics, which, in my opinion, is way too far to do to any human being whatsoever. But ultimately, this entire season has been so unfortunate that, according to Mark Stein, it seems like it is absolutely impossible for Russell Westbrook to return to the Los Angeles Lakers after this season. Now, again, some people are going to say,
what if the Lakers win a championship?
There is no doubt in my mind that this team isn't going to win a championship. They might not even make it to the NBA playoffs. So the official report is it's impossible that Russell Westbrook returns to LA next season. One league source described the idea of bringing him back next season as impossible based on current tension levels. Honestly, man, it is extremely unfortunate. I obviously didn't want this to be what happened when the Lakers acquired Russell Westbrook. Clearly it didn't work. Sometimes these great teams that on paper are great teams don't work out together, and that's just the fact. At the end of the day, I'm not blaming Rob Pelinka because Rob Pelinka did what LeBron James wanted. Hell, maybe even LeBron James, I don't know how, but thought it'd be fun to team up with a former MVP and that would give him the best chance at winning. He thought that this could prolong his career and he wouldn't have to be as ball dominant. And in an ideal world, yes, he would have been able to make it work out with Russell Westbrook. At the end of the day, their play styles clash way too much. Russell Westbrook needs the ball in his hands to be effective. LeBron James needs the ball in his hands to be effective. And when things aren't going right, LeBron typically resorts to, hey, let me call plays and let me handle the ball and let me run the offense. So at the end of the day, I don't think any man should be getting death threats from anyone. I think that's way too extreme. I could understand Laker fans' frustrations because, hey, I'm a Laker fan. I didn't even watch the Lakers versus Spurs game. I was watching Winning Time instead because I just get so angry watching these games recently. And unfortunately, sometimes that's just the way it is, man. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.